Well, guys, did it again. Couldn't pass up, well, what may be the deal of the century. So for those of you who follow my channel regularly, you know I've mentioned on more than one occasion that I would like to pick up a Mig Welder. Well, this is what I got. So from time to time I check the internet for, I check the surplus auctions that I find on the internet and see what the local vocational technical schools are dumping. And came across this welder. There was actually 3 welders for sale. One was a Shopmaster, a Miller Shopmaster 300, which is a big welder, and it came with I forget what, Coolmate water cooler, and basically everything you need to do, all the gauges and hoses and everything you need to do for TIG setup. And so that ended up going for over $500. There was a Millermatic 250X, which is a slightly newer unit than this one. That one was rated as in fair condition, so it probably worked. And that one went for $280, which isn't bad. There is a 10% buyer's premium on top of that, and then there's also 6-point-something% sales tax here in the state that you get to pay. So, you know, somebody's going to be into that for, around $330 or $40. Which, if it's a, a good running welder, that was actually a deal. But I look for the really crazy deal. So the really crazy deal is to buy the broken welder, the one that they're calling poor condition, and the reason why it's in poor condition is because it doesn't work. But the starting bid on this was $30, and there was only one other person apparently interested in this, so I kind of swooped in at the last minute and got this for $51. That's right, $51. So if I don't have to do too much to this thing to get it running, it's a hell of a steal. On the other hand, it could be just a complete piece of junk. So, those of you who know these old Millermatic welders probably know all of the pluses and minuses of this particular model. I've already done a little bit of research. I found out, like, for instance, apparently there's a process called spray arc welding or something like that with smaller wire, or I forget what the heck it is. This unit apparently suffered from a problem called burn back, where when you touch off the arc, the wire burns back too quickly. And there's actually a fix that you can do to fix that problem that actually involves clipping one of the diodes that's on a PC board in there. And well, anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. And the thing is this thing even gonna purr? So my first concern was when they first listed the welder was I thought it might be 3-phase, but I made a phone call and talked to one of the people, and they went and checked for me, and sure enough, it's single phase. It's got this huge, I mean huge honking connector on here. Probably going to end up changing that out to something else because, quite frankly, I think the receptacle that this would plug into is probably going to cost me more than the welder. So there's the serial number, which I see now as a KJ027970. They had it listed on the website as a K102790, which explains why earlier when I tried to put that serial number in, the Miller site had no idea what to do with it. Anyways, this is a 220, 230, 460 volts, so there's probably taps inside that you can change. On 230 volt, it only requires 44 amps, so I could run this off a 50 amp circuit. Huh. Yeah, then I certainly don't need that overkill of a plug. It's funny, I know so little about these welders that when I first saw the photograph, I actually thought that there was something missing, that something had been removed from the welder, like they stole parts out of it, because I saw this big hole in the picture. Also, up here, let me get this out of the way. The other interesting thing about this welder is when I first first was searching for this welder online, I kept finding photographs because I guess they made this welder for quite a while, and I think later models had digital readout or something digital on them. This is clearly an analog unit by the looks of it, but on most of the welders this didn't exist. So I was wondering what the heck this was. So it took a little bit of digging, but I ended up downloading the PDF owner's manual from the Miller website, which is fantastic to be able to get that for free online, and found out that there's just normally a plate here when you get this welder, and this is an add-on module to run a spool gun. But there's still a mystery here, because even the add-on modules to run the spool gun that I saw, the ones that I saw all had just this plug. This one's got this extra one, but I noticed this says remote 10 and remote 14 on this one. So I think all this is an extra plug so that you can run more than one type of spool gun off of this thing. At least that's the theory I'm going on right now, because again, I'm a noob and I don't know. You know, I'm actually, so far, I'm pretty pleased with the overall condition of the cabinet and everything. I mean, I really kind of was, you know, I bought this thing basically through a photograph online, and when they list something as poor condition, I often expect to see, you know, to get there and see that it's got big dents in it and it looks like it was dropped off of something. Whoops. I almost dropped my camera because my strap got hooked on the corner of the truck. Anyways, this actually doesn't look that bad. And of course I haven't opened it up yet, so I can't see for sure. Oh, there's your taps right there on that clear window in the middle there. I'm sure that those are probably some of your strap connections that you change. Yep, there you go, 4. So let's see, what is it? It is currently set up for 200 volt. Okay, interesting. So the okay, I see where the spool goes. There's some hardware sitting there. Okay, so the obvious first problem I see right off the bat is that there's no gun. Is that even correct to say? Is it really a gun? I mean, when it's the handheld spool gun, they call it a gun, but when it's just the, you know, the electrode. Anyways, you guys know what I'm talking about. And there's no ground wire. And ground wire is the easy one. It's the whole electrode deal that, you know, with the liner and all that. That's probably not gonna. Oh, see, I already made a wrong assumption. Clearly that hole is for where the cable hooks into the drive there. So I don't know whether or not that's going to be a very specific, you know, cable and gun that needs to go on there. I really need to get that nomenclature straightened out so I can stop calling it that, because that just makes me look even worse. Let's see, there's a list up there that tells you which consumables it uses. Alright, so this is just a quick first look, and it's going to be a while before I get a chance to rewire this thing, plug it in, see if it does anything. But I just thought maybe people would be interested to see what I've gone and gotten myself into now. Oh, see, that one made good video. I nearly broke my foot just now. I had that board on the back of the truck, and I thought that I'd be able to, even though the board wasn't wide enough for the wheels to be on, I thought that I could just get it to slide on the board, and it wasn't sliding very well, so I tried picking up on it and sliding it forward when I had it part way down the ramp, and the end of the ramp came off the truck, and this board came crashing down on my Tootsie, and luckily I was able to keep the full weight of the welder from crashing down on top of the board. So yeah, it's still hurting, but I could tell nothing broken. That's the other thing too. Buy buying this online just from a photograph, there was nothing in the picture to give this any scale. I didn't realize how big this thing is. I mean, this thing's massive. It's, well, it's not massive. It's 24 inches tall. I mean, you want to talk about massive. Now that's a massive welder. Yeah, this thing's gonna look like a baby sitting next to the old Airco TIG Heliarc. Which, by the way, they're of the same pedigree. For those of you who don't know it, that Airco I just showed is actually it's a Miller Model 3A in sheep's. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing.